Yes, welcome into Footy and Friends. Shannon here with Tim. So we're going to do a top 10 probably mock draft in a sort of way. I've gone a different way to way Tim has. Obviously, we'll let Tim to explain his way and I'll explain my way. And we'll go from there. So we'll start with Tim's. Tim's will probably be the most accurate how the top 10 will play out. So I'll let Tim explain what he's done that. If you guys have any questions, pop it in. Tim will be happy to answer them, and we'll go from there. So, Tim, I'll let you jump off at the start with your top 10, and obviously explain why you think they'll go there, and maybe if you think there's any other scenarios that might have to pop in for obviously academy players and father and sons as well will have to be bitted in. So, I'll let you go off with that and start from there.
I think it's pretty much a non-negotiable that Dersman's going to go number one. Just the fact that he probably suits West Coast a lot. Just that mid forward can play basically as an all-round midfielder. Obviously, the next key area besides the midfielders is the rucks with West Coast, and considering the new rules that are about to come in, I've gone with Cooper Duff-Tyler, who I wish would slide to us, but it's highly unlikely that it will happen. There is an alternative, but I'll speak about that later, as there is a lot of alternatives that could happen. Obviously, Zeke Yulin's how do I explain him?
Before you leave the West Coast too, is there a lot of the reports came out that Dyson Sharp was a chance of going to West Coast? Do you think that's not happening anymore? Do you think they're going to go straight for Dersma and Cooper Duff-Tyler and not take a chance on Dyson Sharp?
It gets interesting with the second pick more than the first pick. Yep. I think obviously the first pick will be Dersma. But then I've heard, what have I heard? I've heard Cumming floated there. I've heard Sharp floated there. I've probably only heard the three players that we've mentioned just now.
Yep.
So Duff-Tyler, Sharp, and Cumming. But I think
because he was at one stage he was ranked number one. So like Michael's been saying the last couple of weeks, have we forgot how good Sharp is because he hasn't played in a while? So I thought that's a good question to ask. You know, have we forgot that Sharp was probably one of the best players in the draft? And have we just forgot about that? And is that maybe why right now he seems he might slip a bit?
Yeah. I think the one that probably hasn't played in the longest is Cumming.
Actually. Yes. Yeah, because he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Next pick's probably the one where there could be an alternative where West Coast could go with him at pick 2.
Yep.
But Zeke Yulin's probably regarded as the best player in the draft. It's just that because he's an academy player, he won't go number one. Because obviously with going pick 1, I think there's the 10,000.
Yeah, you get extra money.
Yeah, from NAB or something like that from memory.
Yeah, I think so. But would you, as West Coast, with pick 1 and 2, if they don't trade away for more, would you not, at least on pick 2, take a bid on them just to make Gold Coast pay more?
That's what I think. That's like the alternative that I think will most likely happen.
Yeah, okay. I like that idea, but it's good. They can pay much as you possibly can.
Well, it's not more to pay as much as they possibly can. I just think it's more the rankings of how people will do it. Like, obviously, you know, clubs who, for instance, probably us and Essendon, who have less of a chance of gaining access to the top 3 that I have, will probably have Yulin at number 1, for instance, because that's how they do their draft boards.
Yep.
But I think the bid for Yulin will come at pick 2 just based off how he plays. So for people who don't know, he basically plays like Errol Goulden, if you want to look for one. And but more at this stage, more in that halfback / wing type of role. But the scope is there to play very much like a Goulden.
And he's not a giant midfielder either, so he's only 180 centimeters. So he's not like he's that typical or big size mid. But from some of the highlights I've seen, he's very explosive as well for his height. So
And the other reason why he might be lower on some or considered as to people why they haven't seen him all this year is he's had stress fractures in his back.
Yeah, I did have that question. Every time I've seen a ranking, he's always been like in the top 3, but I'm like, yeah, but no one's seen him play much this year, and they're all going off because last year I think he was underage 17, got All Australian. So I do remember that he was All Australian. They were very surprised at that age, but I'm just guessing it really does back you into the next year to give you that much higher in the ranking. So
I basically it's basically. Oh no, he did play some VFL late in the year, but I mean there was just like the damage. The damage that he caused in the under 17s basically determined his ranking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Brisbane then.
Yeah. Or I think we will, instead of going the player who I've got in Roby, I think we'll go Annabelle, which makes more sense. Being like, you'd probably want someone more like an Annabelle than a Roby. But it's just the fact that considering what's there is determined, like what we do, and I think it's Annabelle's probably put in the far better year than what Roby has, but it's just it's kind of like you kind of force Brisbane to pay up, but it's probably where you would have him. Most clubs would have him anyway.
Yeah, well, rookie me has him at number 5, so he's pretty much right upon where you've got him set at as well.
Yeah, I did look before I sent them to you, so
no, that's right. Because it's all a personal opinion. Like everyone has their own opinion. It's hard because he's an academy player. I haven't heard much about him, so I don't know much about him. Like, I can read and watch some of the highlights, and I think he's a very good player, very clean. But you just know there's no point looking into him because you can't get him anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense as to why you've gone the opposite to what I have.
Yeah.
Just it makes more sense being like, how about we just say the top 5 as it is, really? Yeah. Which is basically you'll have Dersma, Duff, Tyler, Yuland, Annabelle, and then Patterson. But the fact that you wouldn't go back-to-back bids on academy players. Like you'd still want here I want a midfielder. You take Annabelle, then you take Roby. Then it's like
there's a question here for you, mate. If you want to answer that one, you think Dersman will slip past the West Coast?
Oh jeez,
Are you, as much as you probably would love him to slip? Because I think if Dersman did slip to us, I think you'd have Essendon come knocking because they're pretty high on him as well. But like you said, every ranking is saying he's going to be number 1.
Yeah.
So he's the most complete player that Swifts have in this year's draft.
Yeah, I think the combinations, I don't think you can go all that wrong with the picks that we have, if that makes sense.
No, and Ken is right. Like, we could just get Roby and Taylor Cummings. Like, so, like, in a way, either way, I wouldn't be disappointed. But if Dersman did slip, you'd be pretty happy that he did slip.
Oh, it'd be like Christmas.
Yeah. And then you've gone to Richmond, is the next one, which is actually our bid this time, actual pick.
Yeah, so here's where it's probably a lot of people haven't seen much of Patterson, or if they have, then it's been like VFL. It hasn't been the national championships.
Yeah.
Because they played both. I mean, all the northern people, so all like Sydney, GWS, Gold Coast, Brisbane, played with the Allies. Well, that includes Tasmania too.
Yeah.
But the way to explain Patterson is as that typical line-breaking halfback flanker. So think of like Nasiah Wanganeen Miller kind of level.
Yeah, okay. Which, even if it was 50% of that would be pretty impressive.
I saw him play a couple of games and like obviously online as I couldn't be there in person. Yeah. But it was freakish to watch.
Yeah,
just the pace, the kicking, the high footy IQ. If he wasn't with the Suns Academy, I think he'd be higher, to be honest.
Okay, cool. So you think you've got Zeke Hewlin, Annabelle, and then you've got Patterson. Obviously, we've got Sullivan Roby at pick 5. Do you think Richmond will take that many chances on all these academy players? You think it'll be Richmond will make them all pay up for it, or do you reckon it will be? Some of these might slide later on.
I think the more likely is that Hewlin will go pick 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's like, what do West Coast need? They kind of, I mean, I don't want to bag them out and bash them, but they kind of need mostly everything.
Yeah, they do. They need some. They also need some midfielder who can help.
Yeah.
I should know his bloody name because he's from near my hometown. From
Harley
Reid, that's the one. They do need someone to help out Harley Reid because in his first year, like he had some of the veterans that were still playing that obviously this year they've been injured. So he definitely needs an elite midfielder to give him a bit of support and backing up so he doesn't have to be doing, like as we saw against Richmond when we versed him, Ross tagged him and they completely just fell apart in a quarter. We ended up, getting into the hundreds. So it shows you that they need to find a partner in crime for him, and maybe Dersmer is that one. But or Cooper Duff Tyler, depends on how you want to play, but that's a ruck/forward on that as well. So I just thought it's surprising how much it's going to be really what looks like a lot of it with Richmond being on all these Gold Coast and Brisbane players, considering we have quite a good trading relationship with both Brisbane and Gold Coast.
Yeah. I mean, I did realize we just glossed over Roby, but
it's fine. I think we can get back to Roby. I think we can all agree Roby will go to Richmond. I'll be surprised if it got to Richmond's first pick and we didn't take Roby.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's that, in my opinion on Roby, I think he's that player we don't have. Like everyone goes, he's pretty similar to Sam Law. I just don't think he is. I think he's a better forward than he is as a midfielder, where I think Lawler's a lot more a better forward than a lot better of a midfielder than he is a forward. As good as he is, I think Roby has a lot better of a high IQ. His leading patterns are quite insane. And because he had that giant growth spurt, he played as a small. So he's sort of, when he was obviously in his early career, he worked out where the pockets are, where all your small people go. But now he's bigger, so he can just use his own bigger frame to get through it all. So, and you give him 2 years to add a bit more structure into his body. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 1-2 punch with him and Lawler. Lawler spends 60% midfield, 40% in the forward, and that's just the vice versa around for those two.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, Yo was the name. I couldn't think of the name, but Elliot Yo was the one that was there for Harley in his first year that really, I think, was the shield for him. Where you look at this year, we've had Hopper and Transfer to help all their young midfielders out where he doesn't have that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that, as a scenario to give it to you, pick 2, I would not be surprised if it gets traded to Essendon. So Essendon can get Cooper Duff Tyler, or if it Dersmer slide, they let Dersmer slide and they can get a couple of other first-round picks to boost up their bloody draft this year because they do need help. And the AFL can't give them everything. So
I was going to bring that up as an alternative later, but
no, I can bring it back up later. If you've got other options that you want to bring up, then we can definitely do that. So then you've gone pick 7, which is now Richmond.
Yeah. I think this is kind of a non-negotiable, really.
Oh, you put your foot down, are you?
Yeah. Or if it's, there's one of 2 ways. So it's either we're going to pick Xavier Taylor, or the other alternative is to potentially trade it back into the draft later, like into the teens or something. So it's one of 2 ways. But basically, I think Cal Toomey had us linked to Xavier Taylor.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he had us. Yeah, it was either Xavier Taylor or it was Sam Cumming was the other 2. Besides, he pretty much had Roby set to go to Richmond no matter what. And Xavier Taylor is ranked at 6 in the rookie me, which I'm pretty sure he's ranked like 8 or 9 for Cal Toomey. So you're pretty much right on the spot.
Yeah,
if you're going off everybody else's ranking.
Yeah, I know. There's like looking at 4 different things at the moment, so they're all like they're all in the same range, but they're just varied.
Yeah. So have you seen him play live?
I've
Can you
seen.
give us a bit of a breakdown in? Because seems like a very good leader and a very calm player.
Yeah. So how do I explain it in depth? It's all right. Pretty much a kind of like a hybrid defender, if you want a better term. So can play as a key position, can play as a rebounding, can play as a lockdown.
So I think of a player like kind of like Dylan Grimes.
Yeah, probably
Maybe
not the same. Probably not the same as whereas Grimes could play full back, but I think without that, you pretty much have a Grimes.
Yeah. Okay.
But probably I would say probably one of the most well-rounded key defenders we've seen in a while.
Okay. It's a fair call because there's not many defenders don't really go top 10, so it is good to see him go top 10.
And he came a bit out of the blue as well. Well, not out of the blue, but like he was like, oh, pick 15-ish, pick 20-ish kind of thing. And then basically what decided it was the coach finals, really.
Yeah, because he got best on ground for the grand final, as I recall.
Yeah, that was a good watch, by the way.
So I haven't watched it yet. I do want to watch it because that was the one that I think that kind of turned my head to say, yeah, I'm going with Roby because he had a cracked collarbone and still somehow kicked 4 goals and had 16 disposals, something like that.
Something like that, but yeah.
Yeah, but insane pain tolerance to still kick that many goals. So I was impressed.
Yeah, or I was impressed the fact that he was still tackling, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's another player. Another thing I skipped over him, which obviously another very good reason why we want him. So then you've gone to Essendon, which is obviously now pick 8.
Yeah. I would say probably a bit of a I'd say a little bit of a slide if you want to put, but like when you factor in that there's all the academies, it's probably about right. It'll be a bit of a toss up between like it is a bit of a weaker draft considering what's coming.
Like I do understand people say it's a weak draft, but then I've gone and done like my top 20, and then there's a couple of players I think it goes to about 22. And I think it's where then you see it drop off. I think everyone just has expectations of the draft to be what it was like last year, where it was pushing into the 30s and 40s when you're like, oh, I would love to have that player.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's weak because of the elite category.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's a bit annoying that this is the draft that people are like, I want to get out of rather than I want to get in on.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what's coming after, I'd say about the top 10 could be they're just like late bloomers, basically. If you want to put it into a way, like there'll be players who be like turning 19 and they'll be like, oh, we missed out on a player,
or injured. They had a good start of the year and they got injured. So Baker did his ACL and he was looking like he was going to be one of the better players to draft for a wingman. But now he's done an ACL, so you're not going to see him next year. So that just makes him slide. So shows you how insane it was.
Yeah, which is why the pick 9 and 10 are a little different. Hang on a moment. I've got to do something.
Yeah, man, that's definitely fine.
I forgot my TV on.
That's right. So Dyson Sharp, so you called it. You'd have to say he slid down because he was originally talking about him going to West Coast. That's the high originally rated at one stage.
And then he was also talked about going to us as well. Yeah,
no, I'm not for that.
No, I have seen Sharp live.
Yep.
When South Australia played at Marvel, I went to that game. I love him, but I just don't think he's right for us.
Do you mean when you mean by right for us, do you mean like right for us as in right now, or you mean as in for the future?
As in now, as in like a replacement for Hopper, if you want to put it.
Yeah, that's how I had him set as. He was a Hopper Taranto kind of carbon. You can't have 3 of those because we've already got Prestia in there as well. And in 3 or 4 years' time, I think it'd be great to have. But it's just not right now. I think If Hopper was traded away or Presti was retired, then yes, but not right now.
That's why Roby's forward capabilities has probably pushed him ahead of Sharp, I would say. But if you want a pure midfielder, like a pure big body midfielder, like I guess you'd say like a Tom Green almost, like that type of mold, like the Liberatore mold. But obviously Sharp's taller than Liberatore, but like it's the same mold.
Yeah.
It's just that big, bulky mid. Can play forward, though, which I was very shocked about.
Did he play half back as well for a little bit as well? Because I remember there was reports of him playing half back with Callaway, and they were playing a bit of a 1-2 punch there.
That's a bit awkward to explain it, but I'll try to explain it.
Go ahead if you can do it.
Yeah. So what was happening with that is Callaway was playing half back.
Yep.
Sharp was playing on the defensive side of the center circle.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So basically, you'd have Callaway halfback running into the middle, and you'd have Sharp playing behind his ruckman. If like you had the ruckman go head to head, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
You'd have Sharp sitting behind there, which is Callaway's role, by the way. But yeah, Sharp could do it though. It just depended on which way the bigger midfielder went, which determined where Sharp lined up. But yeah, it was interesting seeing that game. I think Sharp had something like, I think it was like the final game of the championships, or technically one of the last games, which won South Australia the title. I think he had something like 24 or 26 disposals and 2 goals.
Not bad then.
Yeah, I was shocked. I also saw Dersma that game too, but the same day. Managed to walk past him. Thought Dersma was a giant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why people would say that, Ken. I can see why Sharp would say he's a bit pedestrian. I think he doesn't have that burst of speed.
Yeah, which is was my worry, because you watch it, like he's good, he's got a bit of pace, but he can't just burn players off, which is the same what you can see happens with Taranto and Hopper. Like that, they don't have that burst of speed, and they know they don't, so they know they got to get it on the foot or on the hand faster.
Yeah.
So,
and then things can get rushed and look messy, and then it's whatever. Like you're just playing turnover football at that point, which doesn't really matter that much in under 18s anyway, because a lot of them are turning it over.
Yeah. I want to move on. So you guys go.
I was going to say let's move on.
Yeah, go. We'll go to number 9 now. They're coming. You got Essendon again. Would you change this, or you reckon? Are you more annoyed that he's not going to get in, maybe in yellow and black? That one annoys me. I wish I want him in yellow and black.
I do too, but logically speaking, I think Roby's probably the better, or not the better of the three, if you want to put them Roby, Sharp, and Cumming. But I think Roby's the better fit for us, though.
Yeah, okay.
But Cumming is the typical prototype midfielder of the modern generation.
That's what I was going with. Like he's played, even when he played his games in the Sandford, when he played for, I think it was North Adelaide, he looked like a player that he took a couple of bumps and then he was fine. He kind of shook it off and he was good to go. And he seemed like he just blended in naturally. It just sucked that he did his shoulder, because there's a chance he may have gone even higher up on this draft board as well if he obviously didn't hurt himself. So and he's slipped down because of injury, but he's meant to be ranked 14th 14 between 14 and 10 is where most places have him as.
I would have him about where I have him, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
I just think that he's done the shoulder. Yeah, it's probably the reason why he hasn't pushed up, but I think it's just, I've seen him play. I've seen him live. I think I saw him. No, I saw him live, but he was playing as a half forward then. He didn't get much midfield time.
Well, that's another crazy thing. He can go forward. He's had multiple games where he's gone and played as a forward and actually kicked goals as well.
So think about big bulky mid, has a burst of speed, has a little bit of pace, and just loves a tackle. Like just loves
Sort of
being.
sort of a bit like Cam Rayner, but not as bulky, I reckon, because Cam Rayner
Yeah,
loves to go forward, loves to kick a goal, and he loves to hurt people. But I think,
yeah,
if you're going off the body shapes, Cam Rayner's a bit more of a stocky player all
yeah,
round. But obviously, Cam Rayner's 4 years or 5 years into his career, so it's obviously
yeah.
a bit of a difference comparing the body shape. But that's what I saw it as. But again, he's got a bit of a leap on him as well, so that's definitely a bit of the Cam Rayner why I see that as well.
Yeah, I would have said that comparison just a little bit, not skinnier, but a little less bulk. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then you got Carlton up next.
Yeah, so off the page, this is potentially Essendon's compensation pick for Draper, potentially.
It would be, yeah. So
Yeah, but it's a bit of a, it's either going to fall at this pick or it's going
Yep.
to fall at the end of the first round. I think maybe before West Coast now, considering the news that just came out today.
Yeah, but they've got pick before you take into account adding any other bids and all that stuff on. They've got pick 15 as well, I think, because they've got Hawthorn's first round pick as well. So they'll
Yeah,
have 2 first round picks, and then they'll have the end of the first round, which who knows, that's probably gonna be like pick 26 now. But
yeah,
a lot of the players have Harry Dean at pick 7,
yeah.
7 to 9 range. So if it does slide a bit, he could
I
slide,
wouldn't.
but
Yeah, I wouldn't consider this a slide. I just consider this as a bit of a like the evenness of the draft, to be honest.
yeah,
So basically, after your top 5, which is excluding Roby,
yeah,
your top 5 would be, as I have it now, excluding Roby.
yeah.
But
Just seems to be
then
the
the
common.
thing is that with Dean, he's just. I think at the start of the year, he was like a late second rounder or something.
He's burst on a bit actually in the last half of the season,
Yeah.
is what I would say.
And then just had that insane run and that like looked really composed to and really like a leader without being a leader, if that makes sense. So like how like you'd have your captains and your vice captains, like I'd
Yeah,
see Dean as like a line captain.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely think we'll bid on these. I think we definitely will bid on them. It's not.
Mm.
It's probably not being rude to Gold Coast. It's more that's where we rank them, and that's what Blair's always. All the recruiting team have always said that if the player is we rank him as, well, we'll select them. So if they see Zeke Ewan as pick 3, which is what we've got, they will most likely say yes and take it. So I doubt that they will be nice, especially to Brisbane. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that chance of that Brisbane one's other way around, where it's Zeke Ewan and then Brisbane, maybe just because everyone's going to be gunning for Brisbane, just because they've got the Ashcroft boys, and then they're going to get another top 5 player in, and it's going to cost them absolutely nothing pretty much again. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we do.
I think it will cost a bit more than what it has in previous years, considering they changed the points to the picks or whatever. Like it's too complicated to explain it in depth.
Yeah, I know, because last year it was 20%. This year I think it's only 10%.
Yeah.
The following year will be the whole, you need to have a pick within the range of, I think it's 4 picks of that pick plus then one later pick. So I worked the system out. It's not too hard to understand once you kind of sit there and kind of read it to break it down to like what you actually have to do to get it, which kind of sucks because Richmond's got a lot of players coming in next year's draft.
Yeah, so it's to clarify with that, it's not an easy thing to predict at the moment, considering it's all up in the air. So like this year they've got the 10% discount in. They've removed points to like pick 54 this year, I think, which was originally 73.
Yeah.
And they're trying to stop the back ending of picks, which is how Brisbane got the Ashcroft brothers in the end.
Yeah. And how Collingwood got the Dacos boys as well.
More Nick than Josh, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's very. What'd you say?
Oh, I agree with Ken. He was just saying how the Essendon's going to get like say I think it'd be like pick 7 officially for a player that hasn't even played 80 games and is constantly injured, and now he's going to go to Brisbane. And that's no different to the same thing for West Coast when they're going to lose their captain, who seemingly cannot stay healthy either, and he's going to go to West. He's going to go to Brisbane, and they're going to get pick 2 for him. Which doesn't make any sense considering it's the money they're both on. It's got to change because I just don't think pick 2 for him is worthy of it.
It's not just the money; it's
the length.
also the age.
Oh yeah, under 26, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh no, it's 26 or under, and then it's 20. It's like that's why I think Draper's is probably going to be the end of the first round rather than where I've projected it to be now. But anything can happen, really. It's just the secret herbs and spices.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Mm.
All right, so you've had Harry Dean there. Is there any scenarios you want to put on these? Or do you want to change any of them? You happy with what you got, or you got any sort of would say there's a chance of a trade here and there? You want to bring that up and make a conversation out of that one?
Yeah, so I think our second pick's the potential to be traded out of any pick. What'd you say?
Who are you thinking if you're trading it?
Oh,
if it was you, who would you trade it to?
I don't know who I'd trade it to because it gets a bit complicated because it's more it'll go by our draft board plus who has the better offer on their picks and where we want a certain player. So think about last year where it's a little bit not the same, but it would make sense when I explain it. So last year we were looking at not different players, but like we're looking at say a key forward.
Positional.
Yeah, it was very positional, and their picks were very, very deliberate. So we were looking at a key forward and a half-forward flanker / midfielder.
Yep.
And then what ended up happening is that we got wind that Sydney were interested in Jonty Fair.
Yes.
So we pushed Fair up the board a bit and took him a little bit earlier, probably like 4 to 6 picks earlier than what people had projected him to be.
Yeah.
And then we got wind that I think it was GWS. I know Fremantle were, but I think there was a couple of others. I think there's something like GWS and Port Adelaide who were interested in Taj Hodden.
Yeah, I think it was the Giants because I think he even said he thought he was going to the Giants. From all he had heard, obviously he didn't expect Richmond to jump in and get him. So so it shows you that the jump of the draft board is all off by whispers and all that sort of stuff.
Well, they did forget something in that, or he forgot something in that. When he did his ACL, Richmond called up his dad and said, "We're drafting him."
Oh, really?
Yeah, black and white.
I remember he did the interview and he said that after he did his ACL, he was saying how Ryan Geeshan had reached out to him and said, "Don't worry, we think you've done enough to get you in that first round selection. We think your first half of the year and your last year was enough to show what you got." So that just goes to show. I didn't realize there was a phone call given.
Yeah, they called his dad and said, "We're drafting him."
If he makes it to their pick?
No, if he made it to our pick was basically at the top of the range for Taj Hodden. And they basically, Richmond called his dad and said, "We're drafting him even though he's done his ACL."
That's cool. I like that. It's a good little one I didn't know about.
So to go back into what I was thinking is that it will potentially, if we trade pick 7, it will potentially happen again this year. And I think it's fairly obvious to know what our weakness is, and that's speed in the midfield.
Yes.
Which means, I was getting to that as well.
Everyone got ya.
So thank you for that. I think if it happens and we get a pick early in the teens, I think we'll go for Jevon Philippou.
You're big on Philippou, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because was he a runner?
Yeah.
A triathlon, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in my opinion, if we would slide down into the teens, I would hope we go for Lockie Doverston.
That was going to be my other suggestion because that's how I think we'll split it. We'll go for 2 picks in the teens, and obviously the other weakness is the small forwards,
which is why I went Doverston, who was that sort of, he gives off the Nick Watson vibes on how he plays it. Not as much as he doesn't try and get as many free kicks. I have noticed that he just gets the ball and goes. And I would love to do that. The only way I would see you be doing that is if that pick 7 would be to Gold Coast, where you could get that pick where they got 16 and 18, I think it is, or 15 and 18.
Yes,
it's Port Adelaide and Collingwood's one. They own both of them. So
this is why. This is why I didn't suggest Gold Coast, because Gold Coast potentially have 6 academy players inside the top 30.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so they need those picks technically,
which is why off topic with you, I said it's too complicated to explain it because you don't know where. Obviously, you know where Yuland and Patterson are going to fall, but then they also have Adamsall and Coulson, and there's probably one other that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, okay.
And they're all projected to go around the teens, early 20s.
Jesus, really?
Yeah.
That's a lot. I've got the top 20 here, and I don't see after the top 20. There's King. I know there's Max King for Sydney, who's a Sydney player.
Yeah.
Philippou. Yeah. Okay.
They will all vary. I think Cal Toomey has Adamsall at about 23.
Yeah, no, he's not even in the top. In the rookie me one, he's not even in the top 25.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, some of them, I got one. There's one who makes in the top 30. So besides the ones we have on screen now, they're all top 30. So it shows you that's crazy. You've got 6. Do they have the list spots for that?
What'd you say?
Do they even have the list spots? Because I don't think Gold Coast has delisted that many players yet.
No, but they have had retirements though.
Yeah, but that's a lot. Wow. That's a lot of academy players.
Yeah, so Cal Toomey has Adamsall at about 26.
Okay. So they'll need to keep at least one of those if they... So then that's the opportunity to use... Wow, that's insane amount.
Yeah, but I think realistically they can only get 3 or 4.
Yeah, okay. Would you take any of them if you were to slide back? If we were to get a pick, say Young was to leave and that pick was in the 20s, obviously, which then slid out to push towards a 30. Any of these academy players, would you say that would be worthy of Richmond taking a chance on?
I would say Adamsall's probably the better.
Okay.
But considering that we're likely to take Roby, I don't think it will happen though. But it could be a chance. Okay. But bring up that comment about Armstrong and Lays again for me, please.
Which one was that? Oh, yeah. Rod, this one?
Yep.
Yep.
I would say that we wouldn't need 4 if the AFL is smart about how they do the bidding system next year.
Yeah. Because they haven't clarified exactly what it is yet.
If they're smart, just remove the discount, make them pay the amount.
Thank you. Someone else agrees. I agree with the same thing. I think you should just have to pay the full price. Like, I don't care if you're willing to trade all your first round picks and go and get yourself the 10. Oh, you own all the back of the draft. It's those picks will then be given to somebody else eventually anyway. But because I think Armstrong, who played in the under 17s game, it was Boak and who was the other team? But he was up there. So I think he might be the only player we have to worry about because the way he's going, he's pushing towards a top 10 player.
Well, he already is.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. They've based off the He didn't play much Coates this year,
No,
but
'cause
he
he moved out to
played a
South
lot of.
Australia, didn't he?
What'd you say? Sorry.
Didn't he move? Did he move to South Australia? So that probably would have messed up his.
No, he's done it now at the
Okay.
end. So he played the APS here, which is the private school league.
Yeah. Well, there's one there. Yeah, but they haven't actually. So Rod, they actually haven't officially made the rule change yet.
Yeah.
So that's discussion of. They're saying that they've discussed not doing a lockout.
Yeah.
And they are discussing that you can only. That's the one that I was going off. That might be what it's going to be. Is you can only use 2 picks to bid them. So you have to have that pick. If your players pick 10, you have to have a player. I think it's within 5 picks, and then another pick in the early 20s to then match it. So, but they haven't officially agreed to anything yet.
I don't think it's within 5, considering what Cal Toomey put out. If Cody Walker goes pick 1 next year, then Carlton have to use something like pick 2 and 12 to match it or something.
Yeah, but that would be that would also because the points would be so high for pick 1.
Yeah, I mean it's 3,000 points, so
yeah, so that's gonna be the hard one for them.
Yeah, and it's almost unreachable.
Yeah, and then who's the other player? There's another player that's been to go pick 2, which is another father and son. I cannot remember his name. They brought that up as well. That pick 1 and 2, West Coast and Richmond if we are the bottom 2 again, we could really screw up other clubs by taking father and sons. There's another father and son that's meant to go pick top 3. I can't remember his name.
Let me see if I've got it written down somewhere.
Yeah,
because I know some of the others for next year that are meant to be fairly good.
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree. Rod. Yeah, Hunter Holmes. As much that's not a player. That's a player I would definitely say yes to.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at Geelong. It would just be that weird way that he'll end up at Geelong.
Yeah. I know I can rattle off a couple of father, sons, and academies for next year, even without having my list up yet. So I know there is Harper Banfield for West Coast.
Yeah, it was a Victorian-based club, I'm pretty sure.
There is Blake Justice, who's next generation for Essendon, which is why my other alternative is for Essendon to move one of their picks into next year.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you say lose, Mary gets traded, Draper's first round compensation, you're going to have 8, or no, you're going to have something like 6, 7, 8, 9 or something off the top of my head. It may not be correct, but it's something.
No, it'd be 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, I was close enough.
If it also depends on if they want to pick 8. They might turn around and say, we want all your picks for next year.
Yeah.
But I would assume you take pick 8 because then they can bundle up more picks and get more picks. They could own next year's draft as well.
Yeah. I think, were you thinking of Kobe Buick?
Yes.
He's 2027.
Oh, okay, so it's the following year. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Which is the Tassie draft year.
Yeah, which will be he'll be going to Tassie.
He should be. He really should. He'll be. If you take everything out of it, take all the next generation, take the Northern Academies, take the father son out of it.
Yeah,
he should be going to Tassie.
The only one I don't want him to touch is father and son. I love it. It's history, and every kid wants to go play for the club that their dad got to play for. The Northern Academies are just proving that, like the Ashcroft ones are though, like because of Brisbane. Yeah, but that's because they got a lot of academy players as well at the same time, and the Ashcrofts weren't academy players; they were just father and sons. So
the other thing is that probably not a lot of people won't realize is that a lot of clubs now have just made one big academy.
Yeah.
So instead of having like your father-son academy and your next generation or the Northern Academy, they're just an academy.
Yeah, okay. So there's no label, it's just an academy player, it doesn't matter what you are. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, often there is names to everything, but yeah, there's like
Yeah.
I think ours is like the Matthew Richardson Academy or something like that now.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's fine. Alex Rance or Bashir Hooley.
Yeah.
So I've got mine. So what I've done is different to what Tim had done. So I've done it as if you take away the players that you assume are going to go to a bid or a father and son, and I've gone what I think the players that they should actually draft for what they actually need. And obviously, prior to this, we don't officially know yet if what's his call will go. Oscar Allen will go to pick 2. We're assuming it is, but when I did it, I was like, well, I'll go with that. It's not going to be pick 2. What would the draft be like if it was sort of an open thing and taking away academy? So I went Will Desmond number 1, just because he's the most all-rounded player you've seen. If you've watched him through his under 18s, he can play wing, forward, centre, and back.
Yeah.
It's probably a position that a player that West Coast could use. He would sort of be, I'm trying to think of a player that could be the fix-it players that some players have and clubs have, where someone goes down, you just throw them somewhere because you need them to be there to help out. That was my vision of what Dersma could sort of be. He's sort of that Swiss Army knife.
Yep. His most natural position is as a midfielder floating forward. So think about kind of like not like a Bontempelli, but kind of like the opposite to a Nick Dacos.
Yeah, okay.
So like can start midfield, can float forward, but won't float deep forward.
Yeah, so he doesn't flood the forward when that causes issues for players kicking goals because you've got every single person besides one defender in the forward line.
Oh, that's who I was thinking of. He's more like Jordan Dawson.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could agree with that.
Like Jordan Dawson now, not Jordan Dawson of old who used to play high.
No, yeah. So he's got a high. You could say he's got a high IQ because you can read the play that if I flood the forward line, it's not going to do any good for us. So
yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
yeah. So then I went Sam Cumming, but obviously you could swap them around. Roby, it depends on who you want to go first. Obviously, I think now if I look back at it now, Podegor and Sullivan, Roby first, just because I know he wouldn't get past Essendon, and I believe there's a high chance that if we were to ever trade a pick out, the Cummings could slide. Just because there's a lot of where he's been drafted to go into the teens, early teens, and pushing towards that 9 and 10. So, option if we were to ever facilitate, say, a Zach Merritt trade, I would never be against that. Maybe if you've decided to trade pick 2 and 3 to get their pick 6, 7, and 8, if that's what Richmond wanted to do. Cumming because I think he's that dual midfield / forward, a good overhead mark, good penetrating kick, clean by foot, clean by hand. Not afraid to contact, and as well as he kicks the goals as well. And I think he'd be a good combination to swap with the Taj Houghton. And I could see him being a full-time mid just because he does have that. And it does, with him, sort of fix that speed issue because he's not a slow player. He has a really good, sort of like a Kane Lambert, where Kane Lambert wasn't that ridiculous high speed, but he had a real good burst to get away, and he could run for days. Going off everything I've seen and read, Cummings seems to be able to run all the time and not stop, and that's what I would like. Sucks that he did his shoulder, so he probably missed. There's a good chance he'd probably miss a bit of his preseason just with the injury. It's funny that I picked the 2 players that I have picked have both hurt their shoulder, and they both would probably be stumped on their preseason considering they'd have to have surgery.
Yeah, so both of them are likely to miss the combine now. I think. Yeah. Because considering that's tomorrow.
I haven't heard much about Roby yet. If he's going to miss it.
Roby got invited to the national very late though, so.
Yeah, okay.
But I know Cumming would likely miss it though.
Yeah, I don't know if he's even had surgery yet. But then I went. Yeah, I haven't seen any reports out about either of those 2 not getting surgery or getting surgery. Then I went to Roby, as we've said in yours on why I like him. I think he's kind of like Alex Rance and Noel Boltar, where the raw potential is really high. You don't know, he's a bit of a diamond, so you just got to shape it we might be like what we do with Rance and Boltar. We can shape him to what we want him to be as a player. He's a very good athlete, very big for his age and stocky. So I think he'd be able to handle the rigors of AFL, but he's not too big. I would take him before coming probably now, if I really think about it.
Yeah.
Then I went with Cooper Duff Tyler. If you probably look at it now, a lot of people would probably say Richmond should take Cooper Duff Tyler. I know some people will say that he's not the player for now, it's for the future. While Nank's still there, you could get him. I just don't think it's what we need. So I think Essendon would snatch him up straight away. Would love him to slide to 4 for him. The Bombers would love to have that hybrid forward/ruck, which they would now need because I don't think they have a single ruckman on their list right now.
Nick Bryan's done his Achilles. Draper's going to Brisbane. Nick Bryan did his ACL. Goldstein was delisted.
So they have to have some sort of.
No, they have one.
Who's the one?
I think it's Vigo Vicentini. He's like a 20-year-old, 19, 20-year-old. Okay. I think he debuted or played a game this year.
Yeah, there you go. Ken says it's Vigo.
Yeah.
So Vigo Vicentini. They must have something. They must have something else in the backup plans to either draft from another club for a lower cost. They're going to have some more than one ruckman.
Or like what I think is Essendon will try and push next year's into this year's. If they get the framework from the AFL, as in like there's no lockout, it's just best available, because then Essendon will have to trade 2027s because of Buick anyway. So
yeah, okay. So yeah,
like big knock-on effect with Essendon, whereas this year's like their only decent year to draft, considering the next two are going to be impacted.
Yeah, okay. We don't have a second round pick this year, mate.
Yeah, we traded all of them.
So whilst everyone's on here, I'll let you know that Richmond do not have a second round pick, which we all know went to North Melbourne in their stupid idea to give us pick 2 in this for Whitlock. Then I believe a third round pick went to Fremantle in the Shea Bolton trade.
Yep.
And I believe pick 4, the fourth round pick. I don't know. Yeah, a fourth round pick is it for Gold Coast for when we traded that lot to come in at pick 54 to get Jasper Alga.
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
So that's all of our picks gone. So the only possible way. Oh, you mean you want Sydney second rounder?
I don't think it could work.
Sydney want I wouldn't be giving up if you're talking about. Do you mean as in like we give up one of our first round picks and we get a second round and Jesse Natoli, so then they can use it to get Curnow? So then they'd be able to trade, say, pick 3 and 9 to Carlton.
It still won't work.
I don't believe. Yeah, I'm not sure how much that would work, but at the same time, as I recall, Carlton don't want just draft picks. They also ask for players because they still believe that they're a chance to, same as what Melbourne had done with Pataka. Well, they're probably happy to take a first round pick and maybe a future second, but they want players as well. Because they're all delusional and somehow think they're in the chance for a finals.
I think Melbourne are like pushing very hard for 2 first rounders and an established player. Yeah,
I've seen, was it pick a future first, pick 14, I think it is what Adelaide has now. And Josh Riscachelli. Is they say Riscachelli?
No, it wouldn't. I think Riscachelli was floated around, but it was knocked back very quickly. I think thereafter, if it's Melbourne we're talking about, I think they would want Nick Murray or Jordan Butts, considering they need key defenders.
Yeah, well, they definitely need key defenders. So
they also need key forwards. So,
I could bring up with a couple of clubs for that conversation, or it was why going on to Richmond, giving Richmond credit for last year's draft, they picked for need, not for what I believe is what has caused North Melbourne to be shit for so long. Is that they picked for positions, not for the best available every single time. Because if you look what it's done to bloody North Melbourne, I think this is why in my draft in this scenario is why I picked these players, because I think they're in need. I think these positions are in need and players are in need, not picking the best available player. Because if I was picking the best available player, it'd be Cooper Duff Tyler and probably officially Dyson Sharp. if you're going off proper ranking and how the players actually play. But I'm going off what I think we actually need. Explains why you also went Taylor on your draft, because he's a need with Broad retiring next year. There's a chance that Young's not going to be around. We don't know what to go with Noel Bolter. That's sort of up in the air with where he's playing. I know Uze said he's a defender. Nick Philostone's not going to be around forever, so I get the idea you can sort of work out the future there with him. But North haven't done that, and I think this is what has killed players like St Kilda's killed them with their defenders. Sydney, Bulldogs, Melbourne, Carlton. When they drafted, they just didn't draft for need. They drafted for best available, and it's killed them. That's why I think Richmond will have a better rebuild. But question to you before we do anything else: if Richmond win 3 games next year or 4 games, does that mean we can ask for a compensation pick from the AFL for a package to help us get out of the bottom end?
I don't think we can, because we've won. When was our last grand final?
2020. It's been 5 years.
It won't work. I think they were stating that, and then we made finals a year after, didn't we, or something?
2021, and we lost. I think it was 2021. We lost to Brisbane with that behind that umpires couldn't tell with what side it was on the point line.
Yeah, so I think from my understanding is that there's no finals in the last 5 years or something. Yeah, and then there's no premierships in the last 10.
Well, then that would have to but that's why it doesn't make any sense, because West Coast won in 2018. So it's not even been 10 years since they won a grand final.
But West Coast is a different story completely, because we all know. With West Coast, it was their own fault. It's more poor list management, like what happened with North Melbourne, where Gold Coast and Brisbane were completely different from back in the day, where they struggled with player retention.
Yes, because they wanted to go home back to Victoria, and now it's the academy, and
we could just offer the most money, and they took the most money because we sold them the dream.
Yeah. So Travis, I don't have a bids on here. I've gone off what I think from the picks that you have. If you were to take out the bids and father and sons, I've gone off with what the players should go to what club for the need, what they are. So hence why I've gone Kupidov Titler to the Bombers and Sharp. It's that they're running out of midfielders. There's a chance they're gonna lose their captain as well. So Dyson Sharp would come in as a good replacement as a midfielder. As we know, Kupidov Titler can play as a midfielder in a way when he's rucking. So, look, I could probably change Dyson Sharp around for a Josh Lindsay or Oliver Greaves as a midfielder to help out the Bombers. But Dyson Sharp's the best one, and that's why I went Dyson Sharp, because I think it's a player that the Bombers need.
I probably should have mentioned this too. Basically, whoever we don't pick, Essendon are highly likely to pick.
Hence is why I'm so much on the whole Roby thing.
Yeah,
I think this is why I went Roby and Cummings. I think Cummings would get past the Bombers.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, there's a higher chance I think he'd get past them and then Roby would. I think Roby would be their first pick if Kupidov Titler's off the board. Obviously,
and there's a high chance Taylor won't get to the Bulldogs. He'll go to Essendon.
Yeah. Or he'll go to another team, but there's a high chance. But this is just off. Take out the academy players, father and sons. This is what I think the clubs actually need. Hence the positions. Obviously, Zeke. I've just gone. Ewan will go to the Gold Coast. I won't explain that because it's an academy player, but it's their pick, so they've just taken the best player. Josh Lindsay, St Kilda's neat midfielders / defenders. They're quite good in the forward line. Their back line is going to get better, but I thought with Josh Lindsay, he'd be a good midfielder. They are working on that midfield. He is an elite left foot. Ross might be able to help him work on his defense. I would say that, but he doesn't, because Ross, the boss, tends to go to all lockdown. But I think he'd blend in quite well with the Saints with not playing defense. But they could use his kicking going inside forward. They are a bit of atrocious towards going in their forward line, Saints. So maybe if he played him on the wing, on the other side of what's the other wingman? No, he's in midfield now, so not even a bloody wingman anymore. But his kicking ability, along with the sign Wanganeen Marilla, I can never say his name right. I always stumble it. Nasai, just
I
say
almost
Nasai.
do as well.
Yeah, those two on the wing / stopping in the midfield would be elite kicking, and would be great delivery for their, king if he ever gets his body right, and whoever else they got in their body forward line, because I really just don't pay attention to St Kilda these days.
Yeah, I was gonna also think about this, and I was gonna talk about it. Do you think Wanganeen Miller could become a midfielder as an inside midfielder next year, which would open up the halfback for Lindsay?
I think he'd be stupid not to try it, because he sort of did do it anyway, didn't he?
Considering what we saw in the last 5 rounds of this year,
yeah,
or maybe a bit more.
Well, no, I think it was you say the last 6 or 7 when they won most of those games, he was playing as a predominant midfielder. He was starting as the start of the year. He was a halfback, and that's why he was named All Australian at the halfback. Even when everybody goes, no, he's what got him so high up in the ranking was because he went into the midfielder who could go forward and kick goals, whilst playing as a midfielder still, because he's an elite speed and running and kicking, insane leap as well. So that would be a perfect solution for that spot that you don't want to lose with their kicking ability. Is Lindsay comes in, he can probably learn on the preseason with Messiah to help him to adjust. Look, this is how we like to do it. This is how coach wants to do it. This is what I do, and you can probably mimic what Messiah does anyway. That would work in my opinion. Saints. And just I just really don't try and work too hard, because Saints need midfielders. Just because last year everyone said they should have gone midfielders and they didn't. They went defenders, which were defenders who could play midfield. So you could push up Mitch Marsh, you could push up Oliver Greaves, or you could even push up Taylor to the Saints, because the players that they drafted last year are meant to be able to go midfield. So you could push Taylor into the back line and allow them to go into the midfield.
No, they did draft a key defender last year in Taru.
And the Flying Viking, who they both...
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Alex Taru, and who was the other one that I wanted?
I forget.
Jesus Christ. Everyone was Alex Taru and... Oh, it's going to annoy me now. But yeah, they were both key defenders. But they were saying they both can go into the midfield. That was the idea eventually. So you could... Alex Taylor would be an option to slide him into the back line, allow them to go forward.
I think there was the option to push Taru to the wing. I mean, wing's still a midfielder though, not to split straws or anything, but yeah.
I went Oliver Greaves for Hawks. Look, Hawks is hard. It makes sense to me. He's a sort of type of player that I think that Hawks could use really well. He might not play straight away. He could spend 6 months in the VFL learning. When Mitch is happy with him to come in, he's that type of Mitch player where he gets the ball and goes. And Hawthorn has the small forwards for a player that his kicking isn't great for Oliver. His kicking isn't the greatest part of his game, but it's the big body that... Well, everyone was... He was rated as a Josh Smiley sort of prototype as well, what Josh Smiley was like, where he was a big player. Use his body quite well to get around. His hands need a bit of work, but, they probably have the players there and the staff to clean that up a bit. His kicking was penetrating, but the problem was he was just throwing the boot a lot. Tend to get his own players in a lot of trouble. But if he's going into the forward line, it's probably not as bad, because they have the 3 tools, and then they have the smalls that are fast and willing to get their head ripped off to get a free kick going goal. So it would balance quite well with what Hawks would actually need. I don't think they keep this pick if they're after merit as bad as we all think.
This pick will get traded,
I definitely will. The option is who does it get traded to? Does Richmond get involved? Does Essendon get involved? Does another team get involved to maybe snag this pick and then give a higher up pick? And maybe I did a video I was doing, does Richmond give up pick 2 or 3 to Hawks? We get pick 8 and a future first. As my sort of a way to... It would give them the Hawks what they want. It gives us a future pick for next year to help us with all the players coming through. So
it'll help us with Armstrong if if the draft's going to go like how we think it will help us. But I'm not too sure if. I mean, I love Greaves. I've seen Greaves live. I love him.
No, mate. Good chatting to you.
No, mate. Yeah, I love Greaves. Like,
I think he'll work well.
I mean,
I think he'd be a great fit because they won't have to rush him in either. Like that's probably the lucky thing with a lot of these. If you're going off what West Coast, Richmond, Essendon really need, and not really Gold Coast because the Gold Coast players would get rested. The bottom teams that really need help right now, St Kilda probably a little bit as well. Those players will get kind of thrown in with the Wolves. Maybe not as much as Richmond, just maybe not Sullivan and Cummings if it was going to me because we still have Prestia, Hopper, and Taranto there.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get thrown in. But like Essendon players, all those players are probably playing first game.
I think
we're going to see another 15 debutants from bloody Essendon.
Yeah. I think was it the prelim where Roby and Greaves just did a massive 1-2 punch?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That was
they did work well as a tandem. If you look, a lot of these players are from the Eastern Ranges as well. So
I mean, I think they've got 3.
Roby, Oliver Greaves, Taylor. Yeah, they're all from Eastern Ranges. I wouldn't say it was a small sample size for Roby. I think everyone says it's a small sample size because when he wasn't playing for Eastern Ranges, he was playing for Roywood, and he was actually playing really good for Roywood. It was 20 I did a video on him about a week ago. I actually read out his stats for what he was when he was playing at Roywood. I think it was out of 11 games, he had 8 games where he was best on, and he kicked multiple goals. He averaged nearly 2 goals a game, and he was in the midfield, getting close to 20 plus disposals per game. I think it just seems like it because no one saw the Eastern Rangers as being as dominant as they were when it came to finals. But if you go off all the Eastern Rangers games when he was playing, I think he played 6 or 7 of them, and he was nearly best on in the best in every single one of them. And he averaged 19 disposals, 1.8 goals per game. His tackle count was quite high, so it's not a small sample size. I think it just seems like it because he's kind of came out of nowhere from the start of the year.
It's like for instance, someone like next year, for instance, like if Tanner Armstrong was a draftee this year, like you don't see much of the private school league at all.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of little bit off, but like not same, but just like they're there we go.
Trevelyan. Someone finally got it for us. I knew someone would know it.
Yeah. It's like a lot of these, like Rover was playing, I think he was playing seniors anyway, but like, a lot of it's just like it's behind paywalled stats. So like there's a lot of like stats that are out there for local AFL clubs to track stats per game with. Yeah.
There's actually one that you can look up online. You can look up Sullivan Roby, and you scroll through. It's like the 3rd or 4th one down, and actually gives you his whole entire 2025 season for every single team he played for, what he averagely got, disposals, how many games he played, and then if he was in the best as well. So I did that as well, and I went through all of them, and it showed that he actually was everywhere he played through the whole entire year. He was in the best in nearly every single one.
I
think it was I could try and look it up. I think it was like one of them where he had, what was it, like 10? He played 10 games, and he was like 70% of it, he was best on every single time. It was a good thing to look up when I was doing it. So I was obviously doing my research for it. So I'll see if I can, where was it?
It's not very often.
It's called Player HQ.
Oh, yeah, I know that one, yeah.
So if you look up Player HQ, you can actually scroll through his profile. So it says for the Coast League, he played nine games, kicked 17 goals, and he was best on 6 times, sorry. So 3 games, and he wasn't in the best. So if you're going off, that's not a small sample size out of 9 games. You're nearly best on every single game.
I think why people say it's a small. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure someone will say that he played as a forward, then got pushed in, and then that's what got him noticed by Easton.
Yeah. And he was dropped by who was he dropped by? The Stingrays dropped him under 16s. He was under 16s for Stingrays, and he got dropped there.
Yeah,
But
that's
he
correct.
did have a growth spurt as well. He did have a giant
I
growth
mean,
spurt. He was like 178
yeah.
centimeters last year, something like that, and he went to 192. So
Yeah, I think it was something like that because I'm pretty sure someone said to me that he used to play halfback.
I was told small. I saw he was a small forward, which
I
is
heard
why
half.
which is why his tackling is so good because he gets low to the ground to tackle players. So it could be halfback.
I thought halfback made more sense considering his kicking is more like Bontempelli's, if anything.
Yeah.
Like it's accurate, but like it's kicked to space for a forward rather than kick to the lead of a forward.
Yeah. So his coach league. So the coach league, I tell you, did he good for Rowood. He played 10 games, kicked 8 goals, and was 3 best on. So that's the seniors as well. So it's not under 18s.
Yeah.
And then he did play under 19s as well for Rowville as well, and he played 4 games, and he got best on twice.
Okay.
So
but
he did play for another team for the reserves, and he played 1 game, and that was about it. So
yeah, I think what has pushed Greaves up to where you have him is probably his dual position.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like I'd say that's not the top of his range, but probably near the top. I think St Kilda's probably the top of his range, but I don't see him slipping into the teens though.
I don't. I would be surprised if he even gets past Essendon. Depending on who we take, if we were to take a Cummings and a Roby, I wouldn't be surprised if they take Essendon takes him just because they need more midfielders, and he probably could play day one and be perfectly fine with the level of physicality in AFL. So
I think Essendon and Hawthorn are after the same type of midfielder, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think Hawks I've taken into account. They're not going to be having a pick in this year's draft. They're going to have to get rid of it to get Merritt or Petrarca. Obviously, we don't know which one is going to them, but they're going to have to make up their mind which one it is.
I think Essendon said pick 8's a non-negotiable for it. So it's either pick 8 and something else, or it's nothing. We walk away.
Yeah, there was talks of pick 8, Butters, and who was the other forward they got? There's another forward that they have, but that's not getting any games because they obviously play so many tools already. I cannot remember his buddy name. He's really skinny, but yeah, like they were talking, you got to give us some young prospect in pick 8. We're going to give you our captain. So obviously you could just change that to bloody to Essendon's picture and just be Hawks and say it's Oliver Greaves to Essendon.
Oh no, that's who it was.
I love it, Ken. No, I love that. I appreciate that. Yeah, screw them.
Yeah,
screw them. They've dug their own grave. It's fine. No, make it worse for them.
I think
add comment to that.
I think what was the original Merritt trade, and it was so ridiculous. It was pick 8, Mitch Lewis, and there was someone else, and everyone's just going, "Is that really what you're asking?"
Well, you have to. You've got to at least ask it. Because all I can tell you is no and counter offer. I'm asking for everything. I'm asking for pick 8, a future pick, Sam Butters, and bloody another young prospect.
Yeah, Sam Butler, yeah. But so basically, think about it like this. With every trade, there's a high, a middle, and a low.
Yep.
So one club will start high, the other will start low-ish. Then they'll meet in the middle somewhere.
And you work out who's it slightly tilts towards. Is it slightly towards Essendon, slightly towards Hawthorn?
Yeah.
Who's going to get that little extra edge, and then you'll say who won the deal that went out of it. But I think in the end, either way, I think Hawks will win because they've taken a captain. They've tried a few times this year. They might successfully get one who will maybe complement that midfield what they actually need.
I think.
So then, go.
I think the most ridiculous trade I've heard is probably JWS with Jackson Haitley back in the day.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the trade off by heart.
That was the most ridiculous offer I've ever heard. So GWS basically said because he went first round, they wanted a first rounder for him, and he barely showed anything. So, and then he got walked to the preseason, and Adelaide got him for free.
Which seems to be what Geelong wants to do these days. Just walk everyone to him.
Yeah.
I think they've got to fix that soon. That seems to be the biggest issue.
The typical threats from clubs.
Yeah, and Geelong does it all the time. That's how they got Bailey Smith so cheap. If you look at that, what it was, every other club would have paid. You knew he was always going to come back and be a superstar. Just
yes,
I think
and no.
Bombers going to deal with that arrogance. That was about it.
I think Bulldogs also couldn't deal with his mental health, which is why he went cheaper as well.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
There was that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went. You might agree with this one. I went Mitch Marsh for the Swans, just because.
Yep.
They really don't have a decent key forward. I think they got a couple of makeshift forwards, and he's a tall forward, 191 centimeters. He seems to be quite a good kick. I think he was nearly like their best goal kicking for the whole entire comp. Now he's been ranked 11th. I've got him at 9, but it's just the whole need. Now whether the Swans keep pick 9, but they do have Max King coming up, so that could just be Max. You could just really switch it to Max King. But if I'm them and I've got enough points in the background, I could get Max King, who's a midfield / forward, and I can get a Mitch Marsh as well, and have 2 forwards to kind of complement each other to help out my forward line, which this year, if it wasn't for Isaac Heaney and Papley, they just didn't kick goals.
I think you've missed out on an even better play here, by the way. Right idea of going to K4, but I think you've missed out on an even better player, by the way.
Is it Jacob Farrell?
Nah, Aiden Schubert.
Oh, there you go, Aiden Schubert. He popped up because I have not heard much about him at all, because he's 190. Oh, he's a big boy, 198 centimeters.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a big forward. That's bigger than all ours. That's a Tom
His
Lynch
national championships put him on the map.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. See, look. It's good to, this is why it's good to have somebody else's opinion on here, because I'm going off, in the end, I've got the right idea of a player, but the other names come up to...
Yeah, this is why I think this pick is very dependent on everything else beforehand.
Well, you reckon there's a chance that Aiden might not make it to the Swans?
No, I think what I have after mine is I had Harry Dean, and then I had, on the off chance that Draper was a first round pick, like a high first round pick after Essendon's original.
Yeah.
Then I had Schubert before Marsh.
To the Bombers. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Bombers need key forwards.
Yeah.
So why not take the best key forward that you've got?
Oh.
Like, that's sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. What do you think about the 27 first round trade for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it all depends on like the pick values for next year. To me, like for the Essendon thing, like you were saying, it all depends on the rules for next year.
Yeah.
And 2027 is going to be unless you're dead last, or the bottom 3, your pick's going to be worthless, because it's going to be pretty much all Tassie again. I think they're getting like 1, 3, 5, 9, 11, 13.
Draft. It's a staggered, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a staggered draft, and then they have to trade away. I think they've got to trade away the top half. I think it's something like from pick 9 onwards, they've got to trade them away.
No, I thought it was the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was the bottom they had to trade, the top they kept, because I think it was the top they had to keep.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was the bottom they had to keep. So they keep all that. They keep pick 1 and they keep pick 3 and 5 and all that to get all the young talent in now, and they have to trade away the upper numbers so they can bring in some experienced players from other clubs. So a Ryan Mansell.
Yeah.
That's from Tassie. That would go home.
Going to say this, and a lot of people will have no idea about it, by the way, that 2027 could eclipse last year's draft in terms of elite talent.
Really?
Yep. So if you think about how deep last year was to, I would say probably Murphy Reed, which was at about pick 18, something like that. Fremantle,
15 or 16, I think it was. Maybe 15, yeah.
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 The elite could go even further.
Yeah, but last year's draft, if you think about it, really kind of went into the point where Richmond had their last pick and they traded away. But prior to that, it was then you had a couple of clubs that just jumped to random picks that went there. But we got a Harry Armstrong at pick 26.
So Armstrong was in the very good group.
Okay, very good. So you're talking about the top echelon where the top 20 could be one top. So 16 could be pick 1 by how good the talent is. Sort of what it was like last year, because last year was Josh Smiley was going to be one. There was players that what was it? Taj Houghton could have been pick 1 as well at one stage. Murphy Reed was a chance that he was going to go pick 1 at times.
If you want to break it down from last year to potentially 2027's, is the top 6 were the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
For that. So Smiley was the last player who could go pick 1.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas 2027, you could potentially end up with the top 10 all going number 1, or potentially the top 12 all going number 1.
Jesus.
And it is another heavily impacted draft. Yeah, Buick's potentially number 1.
Jesus Christ. So then that really does next year's adjustments for the draft really does matter.
Yeah.
Going into
so
2027.
Next year's is stronger than this year's, but 2027's is a whole nother ball game.
See, this year, everyone says this year's isn't strong, but if you think about that, we've done 10 players. You could swap around any position, and I could scroll all the way back onto here to pick 20, where the players I would take. So Lockie Dobson's at pick 20. Philippu's pick 18. Max King 19. Hibbins Hargrave. I've seen players do top 20s, and Hibbins Hargrave didn't make the top 20. Aldgreaves is at 16. Lindsay's 13. Cumming. We've even got Grill. I've even got Grill there. Jacob Farah. This draft is a lot. Maybe it's more even. There's not that
it is.
Sam Lawler. There's not that Harley Reid. There's not that that one 1A player that's better than everyone else. They're all sort of even. It's more of an even draft class.
There is no generational player in this draft.
No,
but it is not
Cooper Duff. I think Cooper could be the only one. He's the only one I think has the possibility of being it, because he could be the next hybrid ruckman, sort of similar to what Freo have, that hybrid ruckman that can play forward, mid / but
it's not like
how his body works out.
But it's not like there's a Harley Reid or even next year with Cody Walker. There's not that sort of player being he's going number 1.
A definite number 1 where you just know whoever gets picked 1, they're going to take that player without blinking an eyelid. So
Whereas with this, it's top 5, then there's a little bit of an evenness after that. But that evenness group is probably we're suggesting is to the 20s.
Yeah, okay. That's a deep draft.
Deep middle first round evenness type of thing, but there's no you definitely know your top 5 to the rest of it though.
Yeah, okay. Which was last year's same thing.
Last year was insanely good.
Yeah. Could have balanced any of the top 5 could have been switched around to any club and they would have been good no matter where they went.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let Miller go because their widescreen would be. The problem is next year you're probably not going to have Prestia. There's a good chance Lynch doesn't go around again.
Yeah.
Broad's going to be gone as well. So there's 3. Looking at those players, there's close to 1,000 games just between the 3 of them that they're going to walk out the door in next year's, which is what's going to kill us.
Which is why the last 3 years we've gone for best available and need, not just one or the other.
Yeah, this is what will kill us if we were to let him go. And look, he's 27, so he could still be in our next premiership window.
Are you sure Ben Miller's 27?
Yeah, he was I think his first year was 2018.
I could be getting him mixed up with someone else. Oh, I don't want that.
Because I'm pretty sure he's the same age as... I'm pretty sure he's 27. 26, 27. If he's older than that, then there's a chance that this is probably the good idea to do. But I just don't lose the experience.
Oh, yeah, he's 26.
26. So you still got, even if you go on a high range, you still got 6 years left in him.
Yeah.
Which would be a possibility to be around for our next premiership.
If anything, Tyler Young will go before Miller.
I think there's a high chance he goes this year. I think by now, if he wanted to stay at Richmond, he would have done it, signed it before we went to the best and fairest. I know because the talk was with Young that he was given, the same amount of offer, same money, same year, which was reported today by Cal Toomey that both given him 3 years, and I think Richmond's matched the money with whatever West Coast was giving. So I just haven't seen if they've given off anything towards it, if he said yes or no.
Originally, it was lower.
I did hear, and it was 2 years, not 3 years. And now he was asking, as long as you can match the years and the money, he would stay. Obviously, because Richmond drafted him as a mid-season draft. Obviously, he did his ACL, so showing a lot of loyalty to the club. And obviously, it's hard because if he stays, then it's like, where does Bolter play? Like that's the thing as well. Like then it's like, would Bolter go? But the problem is with Bolter, if Lynch leaves next year, Bolter's probably gonna have to be our next most experienced forward, and he's gonna have to play as a predominant forward for us going into the future.
Unless there is talk that there is a whisper of a free agent somewhere.
As a defender?
Or no, as a forward.
As a forward. I'm just trying to think.
I don't know any names, but I've heard that if we do what Adelaide have done, then we are likely to be in the range for a key forward who's just gone to free agency.
Well, the only one I can think of for next year is King from Gold Coast.
No, I'm talking more like, what are we in now, 2025? You'd be looking at 2028.
Oh, okay, so you're thinking like Jed Walters sort of area where the players that have been in
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I just got the Twitter up just to see, keep an eye on who won all the awards, and it looks like Sam Lawler won the best first-year player.
Not surprised.
Not surprised whatsoever.
Nope.
Yeah, look, Widescreen TV, I'd love to have Ben King on our team from the Gold Coast. The only problem I have with that is we just drafted 3 keys. I feel like if you bring in him, he's going to stump the growth. You would have to make sure that you guarantee. Obviously, you can't guarantee that all 3 of them are going to make it, but they all show some good signs. And Sims is the only one you would say doesn't show the best signs compared to the rest.
I was about to say, if you draft 5 key forwards, 2 are likely to fail.
Yeah, and we got 3 of them. Plus, you still have, what's the one from last year's draft? Following one,
Fawcett,
South Australia.
Sim, no.
He played for Port. I played the game against Port Adelaide and kicked a thumping goal. He's the tap. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Fawcett,
Liam Fawcett. Yeah, he's the other one that would be. There's 4 there. You look at that, just the 4. There's 4. So
yeah, exactly.
The Foul won the community award. I thought while I'm on here, I'll give you guys an update. I'm seeing what's going on for the awards.
Yeah, I was about to say I've pulled it up as well. That was a while ago.
It's an hour ago. I haven't heard anything else since.
I might find something floating around. Let me have
Richmond
a look.
Defender Taylor Young is posed to make a call in his future as he weighs up the West Coast offer. That was half an hour ago.
Yeah, that came through from Cal Toomey. I mean, I don't know. There is some people who do delayed reports, which is fair enough because not everyone sees the same thing. So
yeah, but I'm not I haven't seen. I thought I'd be surprised there'd be a bit more pop-ups with it. So West Coast has handed a first-round pick, end of the first-round pick for the AFL, and they're expected to put it on the table for Starcevic. Because obviously they don't want to give him as a free agent because then they lose pick 2 because they wouldn't give them exempt. And good on the AFL for not giving them exempt because that would have been a load of bullshit because There's been other clubs like Essendon right now is in more dire urgency than bloody West Coast is yet again.
Yeah.
And they haven't been given nothing. North Melbourne had been in a lot longer trouble for a lot longer, and what they were given was still shit all compared to West Coast is getting 3 years and it is of bloody 4 extra spots for NGA and academies and shit. I think North and Gold Coast were 2 years. So
yeah,
and they put themselves in that issue as well. So
can't find much on the Jack Dyer.
I'm not getting much. If anybody else is watching this while you're on live with us, can you just let us know at least who's the top 3 right now? My pick would be that like Taranto or Nick Vostom will win it.
The last time I saw, I think Vostom was 2nd or 3rd. The last picture that I saw, but that was before I even had dinner. So
yeah, well, that's the problem there. Like Young was a restricted free agent, so if he wants to go, we have to trade.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the one that I don't know that's going to go. If they give up that end of first round pick for Starcevic, what are they going to give up? Like, they're not going to give up pick 15. I think it's pick 15 they have now. They're not going to give that up unless we give something back. We don't have nothing to give them.
Yeah.
Unless they do it with something with Brisbane, but I would be doing everything possible to not help Brisbane right now because they are just winning at every single corner right now.
I don't see how you can help Brisbane in a trade because anything in a trade is most likely just going to get eaten up by Animal anyway. So,
well, I'm guessing maybe it's just so they don't have to. Makes it a bit cheaper.
And then you throw the 10% of the back end of the draft. So it makes a bit of sense.
It saves a bit of money. I guess it saves them a bit of money. So,
I don't know. A lot of money considering.
Oh no. Who you got winning? Think about that. They're going to pay close to $1 million for Draper. I think it was reported like 850 to 900,000 on a 3-year deal. I think it was 3 or 4 year deal. Oscar Allen was 4 years. I think it was.
About the same amount. Yep.
And I don't see how either of those are worth over close to $1 million, considering both of them cannot get healthy and play a full season.
Would you want to know how to manipulate the free agency then?
Well, the only way they can do it is if I know Richmond done it with Lynch and Prestia and Dusty, where you front load them or you back load their salary. Which is the thing is that you would front load, which what Richmond did with Dustin when we got Lynch. All his money was front loaded, and Lynch backloaded all his money, which is why this year he was the highest paid player at 1.5. Because when his first 2 years, he was only on $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
So he took a discount, temporarily took a discount and got paid a lot of money at the end of the contract.
Yeah. So Essendon, I think the most recent example of this is Essendon with Ben Mackay giving $1.4 million for the first year, which was enough to get the band 1 compensation, which gained North Melbourne another first round pick.
Yeah, I just don't know why they did that to help North Melbourne. Like that was helping North Melbourne, unless the AFL said you had to do it to.
No, I just think it was, logically speaking, you'd rather back end a contract than front loaded because the.
But I don't know I don't think it goes off per year.
It just goes off for the first year.
Oh, does it? I thought it was off the whole entire contract. So if you sign a 7-year deal and it's say $8 million, then they'd go, well, that would average out to be about $1.1 million per year, which then brings up the band 1 comp.
No, it's just the first. I mean, it's the whole contract itself. But what clubs do is they manipulate it year on year anyway.
But didn't they change that because of what Brisbane did with Danaher? When Danaher went to Brisbane, they gave his front of his contract was really short, really like a low amount of money. And then at the end of his contract, it was a lot of money. And they were like, oh, hang on a minute. That just doesn't give us the pick that the contract should say. Because that was what Brisbane got in trouble for, is because they manipulated the contract to not give any high picks to Essendon when he left.
Is it?
So there you go. They changed the rules. They take the first 5 years of the contract and take the average, which is what I thought, because they had said it on, what's the dickhead that does the bloody classified that always says that Dusty was going to Gold Coast and he never freaking did, and He goes, "Oh, West Coast won't take Harder, I guarantee it." And every time he says something, he's wrong and never admits it.
Sam McClure on his podcast, they were saying that it's the average over the 5 years, not because it used to be the first year, but then Brisbane got in trouble for manipulating the pick with Danaher. Okay, because then that makes sense, because then Essendon obviously front-loaded Ben Mackay's contract because the first 2 years were 1.4 each.
Mm-hmm.
So then that makes sense, but like it's even the first year alone, it's enough for band one. So
yeah, but the idea is that you're giving him like they said, what's Essendon's going to talk is $8 million for is it Bailey from Brisbane, and you just break that up into a year, which would be a band one comp. Which I'd be surprised if you give a band one comp to the Brisbane Lions in a year's time, because when Richmond had that with Gold Coast, and then when Gold Coast took Brandon Ellis, we weren't given. They changed it because we just won a premiership, and they weren't happy with it.
No, they didn't change it.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't. The premiership and the premiership was always a part of the framework, and the premiership and the finals were always part of the framework for it.
Yeah.
Plus the age being once it's over 26, it's whatever.
Gets diluted.
Yeah.
A second round pick would make sense, but I just don't know. I don't know what West Coast has in picks wise, but I haven't really looked into West Coast. It would have to be a second round pick, which would be probably pushing into the 30s.
But then West Coast need it to match a father-son, though. So,
but they'll have enough, won't they? With probably obviously what they'll get. Oh yeah, true. But then they're trading a play to Carlton as well, so they'll probably get another pick back from that as well.
Wait, who's going? Oh, Petrocelli, that's what.
Yeah, there's a play going to Carlton from there, so they'll probably get a pick there. And then they also have they'll have their other picks, their third and fourth ones, so they'll probably work it out quite well. So there you go. Band one comp is top 5% of earners in the AFL.
Yeah. Which is why they front loaded, so they pushed the top 5 or the 5%, which is $1 million a year now with the new CBA.
Yeah, okay. So $1 million plus,
roughly.
Yeah. Not that I think not that I think any of those boys going to Brisbane are worth $1 million a year. I can tell you that right. They are not worth $1 million.
No. So West Coast have 1, 15, 19, 20, 34.
19, 20, 34. Yeah. So you don't really have to give up. You could probably give up. Well, you have to give up 19 because obviously that will go to Brisbane for Starcevic.
Yeah.
And then you have to give up 30. You might give up 35 to Richmond if Young goes there. Unless Richmond just does how much you pay him and just get off it, just let him go for free and get a combo pick if that makes it a better value for your money.
Well, funny you mentioned that because we still have to have the bid on Callaway to match that.
Yeah, that was what I was going to bring up with if West Coast, we let him go. As long as we can get a pick in the 30s and 40s, then we just use that to bid on Callaway.
Yeah. So anything after, I think it's like pick 37 is just a free with your next pick anyway.
Which we don't have a pick.
Yeah, exactly. At this stage.
Yeah, that's a good question. Will they even get Starcevic? That's a good question.
That is a very good question because now he has to
have another concussion test.
Nick has to have another meeting with the independent review.
Yeah, because he did say that he felt fine and he thought he could have gone back out again, but because of his history, they said no, we're not taking any chances. You got to rest. And they're offering him, I think it's like 4 years at $900,000. There's a chance that money comes back down to about $800,000.
It's 6 years.
For a player that many concussions, so West Coast is doing the same mistakes they did with their players before they got themselves in this hole.
Yep. And so
Young is out of contract, but he's also a restricted free agent, so we can get a compo because he's restricted by Richmond. Richmond we can bid for him, or we can let him go because he's restricted and then make up a compo for us. But Allen's outside. I think Allen and Draper both for unrestricted free agents, and you still get a compo for players leaving.
Yeah, even with unrestricted. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So Starcevic is 5 years with a 6-year trigger.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you may as well just call it 6.
You might as well just call it 6 because he'll trigger the 6 probably anyway. Well, then again, Willie Butt with his head knocked so much. So,
I mean,
and then obviously the last player I had on my draft list was obviously Taylor from for him to go to Bulldogs, because obviously they need defenders, and I'm still surprised they didn't try hard enough to get Young, considering Young has
they did.
Young was really, so you didn't want to go there, or not enough money?
No, they prioritized Callum Wilkie over Young.
But you think you'd still give up an offer, because so far everyone said no to Bulldogs. No one's wants to go to Bulldogs.
No, Wilkie said no in the end, but they offered him $1 million for $1 million each year for 4 years.
Geez, you could have got bloody Young for like nearly half of that.
They could have also gone after Stephen May for 2 to 3 years and then drafted another key defender this year.
And they still might. They may have another choice with that sort of scenario to do that. And then I just got another notification that was Seth Campbell won our leading goal kicker for the year. So
and you bet
that was no surprise. We all knew that was happening, which is quite surprising. Go back to the draft. So before this, any other with mine? If you were to go, I'll go back to mine. Sorry, with my once you come back on the stage, with what I've got there, any players you would move around to different clubs? Obviously, for need wise, that's what I've gone for, the needs of the club.
The only let me think.
We obviously know we went Mitch Marsh would be changed probably with Annabelle, because he's a better full forward. But
it'll be Marshall change. We change with Schubert. The other one that I could potentially see is it's so difficult, because here's where I had, before I sent you mine. Here's where I had one is like this, just no academies, it was just straight draft. I actually had Josh Lindsay going to the Bulldogs at one point.
Yeah, okay.
Because what's happened with Lindsay is that he played so much on the wing, it's actually tanked his value a bit.
Yeah, I will say he has dropped a fair bit in his. If you go off the ranking from, say, even a month ago, he was top 5. He was bound to be at Richmond. Apparently, he was bound to be going to Richmond. So
because all he did was play wing. There was no half back in it. It was just wing, and he was like averaging like 17 disposals a game, if that, or like not much at all, like 14 even.
Yeah, okay. So his team sort of stabbed him in the foot.
But it's because teams are looking for dual position, though. So,
yeah, and I've seen people have that sort of tempo in where they go, I just want to play that. One plays mid, one plays forward, one plays back, and that's all they do. And I am all for the dual ability, because that just shows you that they have better skills if they're capable of playing in multiple positions. Because injuries happen in this game, and we all know it. So you're better off to have 10 players that can play 20 roles. And then having 10 players can only play 10 roles, and then you lose 2 players that play that key role, but you don't have any backup for them, because you haven't got a makeshift forward. Now imagine if we go down and lose a couple of our key forwards. Yeah, but it's okay, because we know Roby can go forward, and we know Cummings can go forward, we know Law can go forward. So
exactly.
Yeah, you got to have those, otherwise it kills. And then our dynasty was so dependent on our dual ability for our players.
Yeah. And the other thing is that if a Lindsay would go to the Bulldogs, then Greaves would go to St Kilda and be a direct replacement for Jack Steele.
Yeah, well, do we have no Jack Steele going? Do we know? Is that...
No, I just think, I mean, factoring in Jack Steele's age even, like, I mean, he's touching 30.
True. So if you think of the long-term future for Saints, you would try and get that big body mid, which is what Jack Steele is.
Yep.
Do you think Saints will keep that pick?
Yeah, Hawthorn will trade theirs. Yeah, I think St Kilda will. St Kilda have no need to trade someone in. I mean, technically they are trading in, but they're all free agents.
Yeah, true. Yeah, okay.
I mean, Leclerc is going to be peanuts. Unless...
Well, that just came from my form before, and it says the decisions are on the way with the Giants defender Leclerc to land at Saints. But I think he can go for free, because they delist him and then rookie list him, so he can walk for free even though he's outside, not in his 8-year window of that unrestricted free agency.
What was I going to suggest? I was going to suggest something and I forgot. It's getting a bit late.
Yeah, I was just saying we'll wrap it up now. So
Yeah.
it's getting late. I'm on dad duty tomorrow again, so
Oh, yeah,
keep me
nice.
busy. Yeah, school holidays, mate.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Anything else before we go, mate? We'll end it there.
No.
Anything
I
else
think
you
we
wanna add?
mentioned more than enough, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, the thing is, and then there'll be another one. I'll probably do another one eventually, where it's top 20, where we get deeper into it to see, what's moved, what's adjusted when we know the all the positions that have been moved around. Oh, there you go. I knew there was a chance I heard something of this.
Yes.
Flanders.
That's what I was going to suggest. That's what I forgot to suggest. Yes.
That's a high pick for Flanders, I will say. But there could be a second round pick coming back as well. Like you could do that, negotiate.
Gold Coast won 2 first rounders, put it that way.
He's not worth 2 first rounders. I'll tell you right now.
But that's the value though to poach him out though.
Yeah. Which I definitely understand, which is no different to what people want Kerno, and they're asking, which is the biggest thing I hate with clubs these days. Oh, we want your best forward, but we're not willing to give up any of our young key forwards. I'm like, that's great. None of this makes any sense. You're robbing the shit team to a good team, and it's what Geelong, it's what Collingwood. Geelong's the biggest ones for that. Oh, we'll give us your best player, but we'll give you a nickel for it, and you can't argue. Oh, we're going to walk them into the draft.
Yeah.
Which I think is the dumbest thing you can do, because if I was another club, I'm like, I want to walk into the draft. That's great. I'll take him.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably a good way to end it, to be honest with that.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'd like to say thank you, everyone jumped on. Thank you, Tim, as well. It's good to get your knowledge on the draft, because a lot of these players you do know. I don't know many of them. I've just kind of focused on the top 10, top 15 to work out what there is. And also didn't know the Gold Coast had 6 players they needed to draft this year. So
potentially
getting new information every week. So, all right, guys, stay safe as always, and go Tigers.
Yep.